Well, I think it's the third in a series of climate gathering meetings that initially was kicked off by Eamon Ryan, and you have this sense, so obviously there's a responsibility but also an opportunity here in Ireland to initiate or catalyse a change that we all need to make as a global society. So I think it's being drawn to a community of people that actually have that care for a start, but actually have some smart ideas in terms of how we might collectively be able to solve some of the longer term sustainability challenges we have for planet Earth. Well, let me talk about solving climate change because, well, I think industry, broad industry in general, it's actually part of the problem. But the industry that I'm part of, information technology, we're a little piece of the problem, but I think we're a huge part of the solution. And every year we see that computing power, it doubles, or every 18 months or so, we're able to double the number of transistors, effectively double computing power, and that's delivered at less or equal cost and at increasing energy efficiency. And there are amazing opportunities to make everyday activities much more energy efficient through much wider scale deployment of information technology. And if we just look at sort of, online banking or online music or digital books, we see this pattern emerging where we're able to use information technology that produces services that are more convenient, they're probably better, they're cheaper, and they're more energy efficient. So one of the ideas we talk about is the idea of Plan C. This is the idea where instead of sort of taxing and fining people to get them to use more sustainable products or practices, we offer more compelling solutions that people want to adopt, and these solutions of course have to be more resource efficient, and information technology is a key part of enabling that. Well, let's define sustainable development first. So it's about patterns of resource usage that allow us to be prosperous today, but also allow future generations to be prosperous. So I think one of the biggest problems is actually understanding that we actually have this problem. We can't continue to consume resources at the current rate that we're using them. According to the Global Footprint Network, even with modest growth in use of resources, we'll need 2 Earths worth of resources to support our global population by 2050. So that's clearly not sustainable. So I think the biggest challenge actually is awareness that we have a problem now. Unfortunately, through some of the natural disasters that we see, people are starting to think, well, maybe actually there is a connection, maybe we have an issue. I think the quicker we can get people first educated that there is a global problem here, and then actually putting solutions in place that are easily adoptable, and people adopt them because, not just because they're going to help solve our problem, but because they're more convenient and they're better than the solutions that we have, and that all will be possible or is already possible. So what role might education play? Well, I think education is really at the core, and Nicholas Negroponte actually, he's been quoted saying there's no problem in the world that education isn't part of the solution. I think Derek Bock, he once said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. So we have to recognize actually we need to invest in education, and it's only when sort of global population is really aware of the problem, and sort of industries and universities and government, that's when we'll actually be able to create a shared conviction and a shared vision towards a better future. So in short, education is probably the starting point. It's vital, it's a global problem, and it's also sort of a global opportunity, and we're more and more connected by information and communications technology. So even though the problem is large, because of our interconnectivity and the use of email and teleconferencing and so on, it's actually so much easier to collaborate. So collaborative friction goes down dramatically. So it's a global problem, it's getting easier to collaborate, so I think we can work together to fix this. I think is the collective recognition of the problem, and then the collective willingness of society to say, yes, we need to address this problem and go after it. So I think once we have a collective vision and realize it's a problem, that I think is the most important thing we need to do.